Danny, I just figured out that if I switch to Metro PCS, I get 2 Samsung Galaxy phones free.
Cool, Dad.
And I could be a super dad with 2 free Samsung Galaxy phones and call myself Double Galaxy Man.
Or you could give the second phone to your sidekick.
Yeah, I guess I could do that.
That's right. 2 free Samsung Galaxy On 5 smartphones are all yours when you switch to Metro PCS. Metro PCS. Wireless figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.
Blog Talk Radio.
Warning. You have entered the realms of the gods. So give us your mind and your full attention.
So you say you deal with esoteric information? I never heard of such.
Well, you're in for a treat.
Blog talk, this is the blog talk. Alim, El-Bey dropping jewels every day. Blog talk, this is the blog talk. Metaphysical, we deal with the spiritual. Blog talk, this is the blog talk. Alim, El-Bey dropping jewels every day. Blog talk, this is the blog talk. Metaphysical, we deal with the spiritual. So you claim to be a god?
Damn right I'm a god. The maker, the owner, cream of the planet Earth, father, civilization, god of the universe. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that. Wow, I didn't know that.
So tune in or lose, friend. All strategies apply mathematically. The information he drop is real powerful. So get your notepad, it's more than an hour full. Watch your jaw, the crew is watching talk. Indigenous to the land wherever we stand. First world order, we bringing it home in the first quarter. Invisible lines don't apply, we cross borders. Silly rabbit, knowledge for gods. No matter where you reside, Lodge, Temple, or Mars. So don't fret or proceed with hesitation. Just tune in to Blog Talk to get the information. Peace. Whether you suffer from pain in your back to aches in your knees, come on down and purchase you some ancestral tea to get rid of all the parasites, toxins, and fleas. Spiritual elevation for cosmic gravitation. So put away the patience, cause there's no time to be wasted. Ancestral tea, that's all you need. Ancestral tea, so you better believe. Commercial advertising for AncestralTees.com. All rights are reserved. Peace.
Peace to the gods. You already know, man. He's be killing me, the enemy is close. We both lies on our identity. I build like he who stepped, architect like Imhotep. Son had the sun himself, the God deadly with the art. I spit dark with a slit heart. You can feel it in your bone marrow before the shit starts. Standing in the cold with a scroll that was written in gold. Behold the old glimpse that was never untold. Infinite like the 8-7 dwelling in your melon. No felon, though the unrighteous say that I'm rebellious. I'm primal, my rhyme suicidal. I worship no idols. My style a load of gems going down in a spiral. You stuck in your root. My intelligence past my cool. The God is the truth. Every time I step in the booth, you stepped on the stoop. Got scooped and swooped in my loop. Do the knowledge, whack them seeds, get played like flu.
In which the son of us are, a gift from the gods for rule, flying through the sky with golden wings. Submerged into the light, knighted by the golden king with the scepter of justice. Melanin cultivating chi until we are Ethereans, finally becoming one with the righteous sun. Solar, souls are raw, magnificent glow with unconditional love. Scattered rays for days from the heavens above. Soul below, the souls is trapped in the lowest depths of hell, incarnated into 76 trillion cells. To break free, we must be refined, masculine and feminine properties combined.
The devil is the author of confusion. 183,000 divisions and religions, denominations, sects, codes, schisms, and isms. Though isn't it written in the Bible that Jesus spoke in parables? The scriptures and gospels aren't just historical. Many passages weren't meant to be taken literal. Most of it is allegorical, based on esoteric principles. Baptist versus Methodist, Pentecostal holiness versus Jehovah's Witness, Mormons versus Seventh-day Adventists. skeptics, atheists, and agnostics. Divine and cosmic tactics of the reptilians, lower fourth dimensional aliens. So beware of the draconian Satanists. Yo, their aim is to imprison all true beings through ignorance. Yo, we crush the hidden Leviathan. Battle mind control, subliminal suggestions, brainwashing indoctrinations, using religions, politics, education, economics, health and labor, entertainment and war. Yo, sex and law. In this chessboard game, cool like we've all been pawns. Puppets on strings controlled by demonic spawns. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God. You can't run with the devil and walk with God.
Peace. Back again with your host, Dr. El-Bey, First World Order Radio. All right, we are back. Before we get started, we're going to go into some information in which that is called social engineering, matrix programming, and we have a special guest for you. She's been here several times already. This is Sister Fleurbrun. And you're going to definitely want to hear what she has to say about social engineering and matrix programming. And should it say reprogramming, based on the events which is taking place. So I'm going to bring the goddess on, and we're going to get started. Peace, goddess. How you doing tonight?
Peace, God. I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Excellent. All right. Well, we know the current events. I saw your video in which that you did on the HARP system, and as well as also on, how Hurricane Matthew was HARP engineered and how it hit Haiti, which is my people on my father's side. So
absolutely,
they're my people. So
yes.
And then the crazy thing about it is that they also hit us. We had about 4 to 5 feet of water. That destroyed some of our property, some land that we have, about 5 acres, but luckily it was only on about 1 acre, the buildings and things that we have is only on 1 acre, but still, we had to replace, insulation, we had to replace carpets, we had to replace paneling, as well as also, linoleum. There's a lot of things that we had to replace. So, luckily we wasn't there. Ancestors watched out for us, and we wasn't there. So, but the fact is that, we're looking at things being engineered, whether it's engineered, there's social engineering and matrix programming that is going on, and we see what.
Absolutely.
This is the first day of the election. I guess you could say tallying. So within the last less than 24 hours ago, we found out who is who, in the United States / of America, So what you have for us concerning the social engineering that is taking place, with our very eyes.
Well, just to start, just the fact of the matter is before this election, the preamp to the months leading ahead towards this day that we've just witnessed, and we're dealing with the remnants of the one who has been chosen to take the presidency to replace President Obama, which is Trump, by electoral vote, not by popular vote, but by I think the college he was chosen not by, he did not get the popular vote. Hillary Clinton actually held that, which is interesting that we can have a president take a seat without gaining the popular vote, meaning the majority of people have said that they've desired Hillary Clinton to be their president, but rather than that, we have a whole social system that is set up to kind of veer us away from that and have a whole nother way of calculating who wins and who doesn't anyway. But prior to the election, if many of us noticed, as we were watching the advertisements, as we were seeing the delegates doing their debates, there was a lot of purposeful language and purposeful ideology that was set out there to kind of gear us in one direction or another. If many of us know, there are more than just two delegates that are on when we vote. There are other parties. There's Green Party. We had Jill Stein, and I think her elected vice president was Baraka. Interesting, his name was Baraka, another black male.
Exactly.
That was with her. We had another party, I think it's an independent party as well. We had other delegates.
Gary Johnson. Right.
Yes. They purposefully only would show daily, consistently, two ends of the same spectrum. They would only show anything regarding Hillary Clinton, her programming, which is her matrix programming, which is, I'm here for the people. I've been doing this before. I was a presidential wife, a Secretary of State. I know much about the dealings of foreign interests and so what have you. She pretty much stayed on that side, holding strong, Barack's support, because he's the one who's, he's also promoting her. And then we have the other side, which is Trump, who is, just an egregious, very wealthy businessman who is holding the stance for white America, the basic platform for, the stronghold for white supremacist type of banter. I'm going to secure the borders. I'm going to make sure I build bigger walls to protect us from these bad brown people that are trying to come into our country. Mind you, most of the Native Americans, the Native indigenous people were already here, and the Mexicans and the indigenous from Texas, Arizona, and California are of the same kin. They're the same family. They are the same indigenous people. They share some of the same genealogy as the people here, but we're building walls to secure people who were here previous to inception out. That was his premise. Keep all that. The bad Muslims are here. They want to, terrorize us. His thing was basically fear. That was his programming. To not collectively to bring everyone together, but to isolate, build a sense of superiority to specific, especially the white male, and then to also build an ideology that anyone who is not here for our supremacy belief system is against us, and we were going to either kick them out, murder them, or build walls so that they can't be around us, isolate ourselves. So you had two specific programming. You had one on one side, supposedly the Republican side, and the other, which is the Democratic side. And I always like to say, whenever you get such two very strong ends of a spectrum, really, really right and really, really left, generally going too far right or too far left on the pendulum are usually the same. It's the same. It's one coin with oppositions of each side of the coin. So even though they seem like they have so totally different ideology, you will get the same extreme in your political system once voted in as you would get to the other extreme of the other person if you voted in. So you're getting one and the same. Whether we voted Hillary Clinton in or Trump, we're going to get extremes because it's not natural. We needed more of a happy medium, a balance, which the other parties held, which don't have a chance because all they've been doing is promoting these two parties for the last year. So that being said, they're swaying us in a specific way. Everything has been, any anti to Trump was also building him up. So even though he was supposedly anti-woman, he was also building some resiliency to the white male. So even though he's supposedly anti-woman, he's also answering for the male, saying that, when they were saying that he's, Trump has been married 3 times. I think this is his 3rd wife. He's not he's not one who's not a man who's not known to be egregious with women. He's a very wealthy man. He's made sure he's picked women, actually foreign women, male for brides, which is interesting that he has such a very strong foreign policy to keep foreigners out, even though he desires and he's mated with and created children with foreign women. I like to call them male for brides. So he's built this premise on that I know I'm sidebarring. I always get sidebarred. But what I like to say is that we're getting these social programmings that are gearing people in one direction or another. And we think that we have a choice in this matter. But as we've seen in many of the presidential elections, they've already chosen who they want you to vote for, or who they've chosen to take the elected position. But what they do is they play a game of, having people flock in one direction or the other to either make them anti or make them pro, based on whatever desire they have for the end result, which is the president, now Trump. Many people didn't even think Trump could possibly make it to this. I personally didn't think this was probable. What happened with him winning? I thought he is so anti-everyone. I didn't know who could possibly vote for him. Just to be honest, other than obviously the white supremacist, white male. I overstand why a white male would vote for him. I get that. So I never thought that we would get those. But as far as everyone else, I was a little disconcerted when I heard the results this morning. I didn't really listen to everything last night, the banter, but when I heard the results, and also because I know how the matrix works, even if he did not get the votes, 2 weeks ago we had, I don't know if you remember, 2 weeks ago we actually had a hijacking, what was it called, a cyber attack on the United States. I think Twitter was attacked.
Yes.
What was it? The interim. It was the routing system that a lot of these social media sites use. So it was a routing system that many of them use the same routing system. So 2 weeks ago, the system was attacked. It was a cyber attack. They blamed something. They said it could have been Russia, but also they linked it to Hillary Clinton, which was interesting because the first time that happened, I said, usually if something like that's happening, it was big enough so it was concerning. I said they may be doing this to mess with the election. And, of course, I spoke to certain people. Some people were like, well, is that possible? And so, yes, it's quite possible. If we're using a lot of we're using electronics to, do our counts, of course, anything could be doctored and messed with. If we're using, anything technological, you can always mess with it. So 2 weeks prior to this, that happened. And then all of a sudden, as it was going down last night, I know my mother was watching, vehemently last night, and she noticed something, and she's not in our world. I will say this. My mother is quite just she follows the matrix programming very well. This is where she's at. She's accepted who I am, and that's cool. But she said something that was very odd to me. She said last night when she's watching all the states, the votes coming in, so on, she said, it's very odd. She said, Trump did not lobby in a lot of these areas that he's getting the votes for. He's getting votes in areas that he's not noted to be popular with or doesn't have the popular vote for. And I said to her, it's interesting that you said that, because I said, if that's the case, we might have a problem. I kind of semi-called it out. We might have a problem with someone using technology to mess with the votes, to alter the results, which we know they do. But it's interesting, 2 weeks prior to this, we had a cyber attack, and now we're having something that was odd to everyone. This was something that even the Republicans thought it was a little crazy.
Right, that was the preliminary run.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if we wanted to, she conceded so easily. I mean, if people really got bowdy, we could have had everyone take, because there's paper ballots in there too. We could have had every state bring out every ballot and count it from the rooter to the tutor, which we can do. But I felt like, I guess it's an embarrassment to the party if you decide to do that. It was so close, but far enough so they didn't feel it was necessary to do a count, organic count. So again, this is part of the way that we're socialized. We're socialized to accept things based on what is given to us, what's consistently propaganda to us on the news daily, in the newspapers, even on our social media sites, on our feed, on our Facebook. You'll notice that there's a consistent feed that's always a certain videos that are always put up perpetually, consistently. Like you'll see a video, and I'll see the same video on my feed. They purposefully are propaganding even in our personal what we consider to be quote unquote our personal space, even though it's not our personal space. It's FB, and it's already being it's surveillance for the CIA and the FBI. They don't make any qualms about telling us that, but we still use it. But this is part of how they socially engineer us. They perpetuate certain ideology. People watch it enough. It's just like listening to an old hip hop song. There's songs that I've heard that are not songs that I like, but if they perpetually play it consistently, eventually I'll be like, oh, I like that beat, because it's being consistently rewound, played over. It's being programmed in my consciousness, my subconsciousness, and after a while I'll just pick it up myself. I'll like it. It'll be inserted into my repertoire of toning, so that I start to accept that whatever's being perpetuated to me, and they do this consistently.
Very true. Very true. All right, so down in Florida, being that Florida was one of the states in which that was essential for a win, did you see a lot of signs for Hillary?
Yeah.
Or did you see more signs for Trump?
No, we didn't have a lot of signs. Remember, I'm in Orlando, so I didn't get the lot. I heard in Broward County, more in Miami, you get more of the people propaganding, putting their signs up and stuff like that. We didn't really get a lot of that, but we had early voting. We've been voting for like a month, like literally our voting. We've been on and off voting, and from what I saw consistently, I saw people who were Hillary voters, even people who were not, who I knew to be, as far as branding, like some people have a brand that you look at and you're like, okay, that looks like a Trump. That could be a Trump voter. There were people who were more afraid of his policies and veered off of him just for the fact that he was too much of a loose cannon, that were going for Hillary. I know factually. There was more Hillary voters, I felt. Now, whether they say that or not, at the end of the day, there's a closed curtain. So behind that closed curtain, they can pick and choose as however they like. But from my feeling, we had Florida. Remember, it's a very foreign-based state. We have the biggest Haitian community. We have the biggest West Indian community, and they're naturalized, and these are people who are citizens. We have the biggest Latino community. We have the biggest, we have a hyper amount of Puerto Ricans here who were, my girlfriend just came back from a week there. I was supposed to go to Puerto Rico, but she just came back, heavily Clinton fans. So we have a big community here that it was very odd. And you remember, I don't know if it was like a week ago, the governor was accused of throwing out mailed-in votes from Democrats. So Florida's dirty, though, and it was dirty from the point when Bush was running, when they had to go down to Florida and see what was happening, because Jed Bush was the governor at the time of Florida. They were concerned that he was doctoring votes or throwing out votes. So Florida, we should have had. That's why I know we were tampered with. And again, where there's smoke, there's fire. 2 weeks prior to this, we have a cyber attack. Russia is also in bed with Trump. We also had a transformer last night. Was it last night? Last night, a transformer blow up in Russia during the election. I always think, there's no such thing as coincidences. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of linkages to Trump and Russia, and also to Clinton. Clinton had issues with Russia, but Trump doesn't. And it's interesting that we're about to go through perhaps a war with Russia. We have a lot of piloted conversations. There's a lot of huffing and puffing going on with Putin. It almost seems like they purposefully did this so that we had a president that was more pro-Russia than against.
I definitely agree with that. As a matter of fact, I heard the same thing and read the same information concerning that Russia was behind the cyber attack. They try to throw it off on China, saying that China is the enemy and that China is the one that needs to be focused on and not Russia. However, go ahead.
Oh, no. What I was going to add to that is that they said it was China, but then after that they were accusing the Clinton party for trying to perhaps make it so that the swing vote, like they were going to mess with the technology and do something so that she wins. So, you remember the old school, saying, if you smelt it, you dealt it. It's almost like they're accusing her because that's what they were planning to do.
Exactly. That's exactly what I seen.
And it's amazing now that we have a lot of the big politicians a lot of the countries pulling away from America at a time where they see us, they basically see, Rome going down in flames. And people are pulling out financially. They're pulling away from us in all aspects of commerce. You've got China making big moves with Nigeria right now, which I support. I like that. I like that union, to be honest. Nigeria's economy is booming, and China sees that as a win-win. So they're conjoining with Nigeria, which is a threat to our economy because we owe so much money to China right now, which is ridiculous. So, and Russia was the biggest threat to the United States right now.
That's crazy because that's where Obama got the money from for the so-called quote-unquote bailout. The corporate bailout.
Yeah.
He got that money. That I think it was $700 billion. Got that from China.
Oh my God! Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at that. But we can't pay that back. We don't even have gold. We don't have the bricks, the mineral, the coinage, the gold to back our bonds anymore. The gold is gone. All those vaults and everything in New York, all the stocks where they kept all the gold, it's gone. I heard there is nothing there. We have nothing to back anything up. Our money is basically like monopoly money right now.
Right. There's nothing in Fort Knox.
Nothing.
In fact, it is said that the gold in which that was there at one time is now in the Bank of London in England.
Ooh.
And that the Queen sits over it. And these are pics of her walking down lanes and lanes and lanes of gold.
I believe it. And remember, though they were saying that the colonists came here free from England, that was BS because she still owns. She is still basically the silent partner of the United States.
True.
And there's something there's something going on with the pullout of England from the BRICS too. They're pulling out from the BRICS, and that's causing a whole upheaval with Greece going bankrupt. I mean, all of Europe is losing their grip and their financial stability. And it makes sense that she would pull in, get her gold before it goes down. And for the fact that she's taken the gold, that lets you know that they're pretty much throwing the United States under the bus. They're just waiting for it to crash and burn.
Right. Well, they also made statements. For example, I was listening to Alex Jones today, and he states that George Soros' next move in order to bankrupt the economy of the United States due to the fact that that Hillary didn't get the presidency, and that's who he was backing.
Mm-hmm.
He even gave forth a judgment on the presidency a couple of weeks ago. He said, well, it's going to be close. However, Hillary is not going to win the popularity vote, but she's going to win the electoral.
Yeah.
Now, that's exactly what he said.
And it was the opposite. Yeah, it was the opposite. He made that projection. And it makes it so odd because we're getting the opposite. We're getting the total opposite of that, which is crazy.
Yeah, we're getting the total opposite of that.
And
but allegedly she won the popularity vote, but lost the electoral. Right. So.
Yeah. But like I said, when my mother called and she said she was seeing read all on these states that were normally not so much that they were Democratic, but she knew that they were projected as being high Hillary fans. They may have not liked Obama, but they were all fans of Hillary. So
right.
just the fact that these states were like, they weren't swing states, they were guaranteed states, and she didn't even get them. That's odd to me. That's odd. I mean, we could have a whole bunch of sleepers, but I doubt it. Now, people are blaming the brown people for not coming out and voting. No, we don't have the numbers to make this much of a sway. Yes, I agree that maybe not as many people of color voted, yes, because the incentive for voting for Obama was something more personalized to a lot of people of color. I get that. And that's a sentiment of, a win for us. And again, I never saw Obama anything else but a beautiful symbol with him and his beautiful black wife and his beautiful brown children in the White House that was systemically connected to oppression. I was okay with just a symbol of him. I didn't know if he would bring anything other than just a symbolic, vision of him. Because really, at the end of the day, we had more murders, more digressing of the people of color under his term. Not because of him personally, but because of the backlash of him winning and white supremacy showing its ugly face in almost like a backlash of them feeling like a black man is in power. We're going to get you blackies. That's how they, that's how they roll. You think you have a win here? We're going to take care of everything else and make you not feel like a winner. I almost felt like we got a backlash because he was president, to be honest. I've heard more racist terms and more racist rhetoric than I've ever heard in any other presidency, any term. I've never heard as much nasty commentary that we did while he was president. And he got disrespected left and right, and the House would not move for anything he wanted to do. They fought him nail and tooth on everything. And that being said, then you bring in the metaphysical aspects of things. And I just, I spoke to my C-stars, people that are in our circles, and I just told them, I said, everything is for a reason. And though we may not see it now, I know personally, I know for a fact, I know it in my soul, that I know that we are ending the cycle of white supremacy and of the patriarchal stronghold. I know it, I feel it, I see it. But because Hillary didn't win, people felt that this was a sign that we were digressing again. I don't agree. I think Trump being in the White House, just like how we felt as people of color when Obama got there, we had so many hopes for him to change things, and some of us felt disappointed that there was not much, there wasn't anything really overly active towards assisting the people of color. I feel like it's going to be the same for the white population who voted, the racists who voted for Trump, because Trump is, I'm going to keep it real. We're from New York. Trump is no joke. He's real narcissistic. He does not like being restrained. He does not like people telling him what to do. He is the head of his board. He has a lot of yes'em men around him, his entirety of his career. He's not used to being on a schedule, getting up and going to this country, doing this, being under someone else's tutelage and time frame. He's not used to that. He's the perfect example of how someone's going to crash and burn. This man has not gotten it right with his marriages. He's not gotten it right with his bankruptcies. He's not someone who's a long-term type of dude. So it's going to be interesting to see how he crashes and burns.
Well, like you said, he done had 3 marriages as well as also 3 bankruptcies.
Yes.
So
he's not a long-term dude.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can say that actually George Soros probably was backing both sides, in which that he know that, Trump is a terrible, money manager, and put him in position so that he can bankrupt the nation / economy, which is already bankrupt as it is, really.
Yes. They pick the person who easily manipulates to do that. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right. Absolutely. He's the best decision. He's Waverly. He's not a stay-tutive type of dude. He runs. And anyone who does not – first of all, he didn't even show his taxes. They've been asking for his taxes. This is what I'm saying. It's madness. They asked for his taxes. He still hasn't shown it, and he just got voted in for president. When have you ever heard that? It's almost like they want him to just destroy the economy, and he's the perfect candidate to do that. And as I tell people of color, I said, this is not our business. A lot of the things that are affecting white America are not things that systemically mess with us. We've always been independent based on the fact that we've not been incorporated for the most part in the world that we reside in white America. We've really not been incorporated. If we have been incorporated in white America, is that it has only been to be like a shuck and jive or entertainers or sports people, which are basically like pets to them. We'll let you make, a whole bunch of $1 million so long as you entertain us and you don't say anything too political and you stay in your lane, brother man. You know what I mean? Or you marry our women and keep your wealth in the white community by having mixed babies that will only keep the wealth in the white part of the family. You know what I mean? They're okay with that.
On. Right.
Right. Yeah. I mean, when have you ever seen any, we have a massive amount, and don't get me wrong, I love our athletes. I have an affinity for our sportsmen and for our entertainers. I'm not saying that they're all dastardly creatures, but they are all under the same programming. They don't realize they are being socially engineered to perpetually keep up the position as jester to the king and queen. They are jesters. They are entertaining the people who see them as lower and deprived and only necessary for their own amusement. That's basically what they are. And that's just what it is. Because I've never seen anyone. Now, if we get out of the United Snakes, of America, and we go into the Caribbean, we see the potential of what we can be in other social systems where you see brown people on the top layers and you see brown people on the bottom layers. We see a more equilibrium in that way. So from us who come from other places, we've seen where we, especially from Africa and other places, we've seen where we've been the best and the worst. So we have that wonderful full spectrum of what we can be, the potential of what we can be at our highest and lowest. And that's healthy. That's why I always tell people, travel outside the country so that you could feel better about yourself, so that you're not stuck in this whole socialized system of the matrix, which will perpetually was created to make you feel less than and to degrade your sense of value in this world. And it's not true. If you go outside other places, I'm not saying we're not oppressed in other places, but the social system is a lot healthier for us to see, and it's healthier for us to reprogram ourselves so that we have higher goals and we don't have a cap keeping us held in a box, limited to whatever they think here in the States we can do.
Right. Well, what you think about currently taking place with, I've seen a count meter put up about those who are heading from out of the United States into Canada, and it is jumping kind of high. As well as also I heard so-called blacks say, African Americans say they're going back to Africa. The fact is that
we got to be careful. We have to be careful because, again, if you are reactive, you will fall right into the program. Because remember, programs are meant to lead you in one direction or another, and you should never make a decision based on fear. You should only make decisions when you are in your right state of mind, not reactive from something happening. Because usually when you're too reactive, you'll make poor decisions. Canada has closed its borders, and the majority of people trying to go into Canada are probably Muslims, because a lot of the Muslim community is very frightened of this man, and they should be. I understand it. They're very frightened of his policies. He has very extreme motivations, but I'd like to say to them that, remember, policies take a while to come into fruition, and it takes time. And a lot of the stuff he was saying, like most presidents, is smoke. It's smoke up the behind. It's a lot of it. He's talking a lot to appease to a certain population, and most, if not 80% of what he says won't come to life. And I would suggest that they, hold it a little while longer. And this is coming from someone who comes from a foreign family. I'm not saying that we shouldn't leave but wait it out a little bit and get an idea of what's happening. We don't even know if this man will make it to inauguration. You know what I mean? So, they're trying to pop him off on stage at least 3 times already. I mean, so let's wait it out and be a little more patient. People are trying to leave Africa. We got to be mindful, because unless we're going there with our own, because, I think Mos Def went, another couple of people I knew went there. We got to be careful, because when we leave America, they're being very vindictive right now. Some people are trying to come back home or just to visit, and they're keeping them banned from coming back in the States. So just be mindful, if you leave under the guise that you are taking the exodus because you don't like them, they know this, and they will bar you from coming back in the States even for a visitation. We got to be really mindful right now. I always say take on dual citizenship so that you make a smart decision that if it doesn't work out over there, because remember, culturally, a lot of us are not in this. You know my thoughts on this. Many of the brown people here are from here. They're from the States. They're native. They're indigenous Americans that were here. Their genealogy is from here. And, white America has changed historical archiving. They've hid the history of the genealogy of the natives that were here. Many of the people here were from here. And I would be highly disappointed for some of our wonderful indigenous rich people to go and leave a place that their ancestors resided here naturally. This is my opinion.
Totally agree.
We're trying to find ways right now to get because they've doctored all the genetic testing to find the markers, to be able to genetically tie yourself to the natives here. And, my stance on Standing Rock, and I know it's such extreme, and, I'll take the backlash for it, but as someone who knows historically, and I also study genetics and I worked with heredity, I know for a fact that those people, those so-called quote-unquote natives and Standing Rock in what's Standing Rock? What is that? What town are they in? I forgot.
Dakota.
Dakota. Those are not natives. Those are watered down others. And I even question if they're $5 Indians that were passed down that lineage. Their ancestors paid for the nationality, and of course they mix with a little bit of the native. So you see some of that. You see remnants of it, but I call it out. Many of those people are not the actual native indigenous that were from here. And I also think metaphysically and spiritually, that is why they're not being supported, and that's why they're being accepted as karmic debt from them incepting on others and taking on a nationality that was not theirs in the first place. The natives that were here, even quoted by Columbus and other colonizers, they thought they were in Africa. They were lost trying to get to India so they could do trade because they didn't want to trade with the Muslims anymore. So they got lost, and they were supposed to go to India. They came to the Americas, and the first thing they said is they think they were in Africa because the people were Afrocentric look to them, meaning they had thick hair, froze. Even when their hair was braided, it looked more like dreads. That's a fact. They have pictures of it in Europe. You go to Italy, you see pictures of brown people. You don't see those people that you see on those reservations right now. It's not true. I'm not disrespecting them. I know that they have remnants, and maybe they believe that they are because they've been told that their whole lives. But we also know that there were Europeans buying the nationality of native Indians to get free commerce and trade and keep land. And they would pay $5 illegally to get the nationality of being Indian. And I don't blame that some of these people think that they are, but you look at them, they are not. It's a fact. And it pisses me off a little bit, excuse my language. It gets me really riled up that many of the native melanin-dominant people who try to get their nationality, like the Seminoles, a lot of them tried to get their nationalities and try to talk to the tribes, the Blackfoot, the Cherokee, the Iroquois, the other tribes that are there, and try to ask them if they could hold their nationality for their own indigenous bloodlines. And you know what they told them? No, we're not giving you that. We're not allowing you to do that. So you know what I say when I see something like it was going down in Dakota? So be it. You incept on others. You do things like that. That's not your land. That's why the ancestors are not supporting you. They're going to let that. And that's also why the government can do that, because they know that those people aren't the natives. They're not breaking any treaty. There's no natives left on those lands. For who are the real people?
Exactly. And plus, the oldest standing treaty is the Treaty of Peace and Friendship between the United States and Morocco, or here, which is Al-Maroc. not the kingdom, but the empire.
You're
and
right.
If anyone read the book African Holocaust, before the African Holocaust of Columbus is written by Dr. John Henry Clark. He states in there that what we refer to as the Malian Empire, the Ghana Empire, all of that was called the Moroccan Empire, and Columbus seen ships sailing back, going towards Africa, on his way coming here, to the Caribbean.
Yes.
So,
right.
And that's what him and his son both report within their diaries. Some say Columbus didn't exist. However, the diary states specifically that they seen that when they went to Cuba, which is, during that time he called it Isabella, they seen a mosque on top of the hill, and that a quote-unquote a black emperor came to them and met them at the shore, who spoke Arabic, Chaldean, and Hebrew.
Yes. Oh, yes. Speak. Yes. Yes.
And that was in Cuba. And that's why the word Cuba is reminiscent of Kaaba.
Kaaba.
Is because of that mosque that they seen on top of the hill. But many don't want to, go and do any investigation. That's too much for them. But this is historical.
Well, even if they do, and I always say, a lot of our archives have been whitewashed or totally exonerated from any information that would even link any people of color. And when I say of color, melanin dominant. I have to say that because people get confused. They're melanin dominant. These are people that were brown, that existed here. And we do know, yes, that because many of us are reminiscent of our brothers, but I love that Empress Shiva says this. She says, we're one tree with many different branches. We all existed on the surface there were many tribes that existed from Africa here, but they were here for hundreds of years. They were here from the beyond anything the European has not been here that long. And my theory is that they were created. So they have not been here. They explored because they had no idea that the others existed outside of themselves. So out of curiosity, I get that they traveled, but also they're very domineering type of beings. They don't just want to travel somewhere. They want to destroy and take on the nationality, and step upon or parasite off of or vampiric off of whatever they can take and utilize, and then utilize it as their own and take it on as their own nationality, and get rid of anything that would be connection to the original people that were there. They've done it all over the globe.
Right.
And,
the problem with that is that information is still coming to light here within the so-called Americas. There's so many European Albion archaeologists such as Josh Reeves, Ross Hamilton, and I know Ross Hamilton. I've met him a couple of times up at the Serpent Mound in Ohio, and me and him have talked. But there's Jim Vieira, there's Richard Nave, and they've already revealed that the first American was what they refer to as native indigenous blacks, aboriginals, who built the ancient mounds and pyramids.
It's fact. Yes. There were pyramids here. There were pyramids in Mesoamerica. There were pyramids all over. They just only speak about pyramids in Egypt because now there are others there who lay that claim. But they were all over the planet because there was brown people all over the planet. And people are like, well, no, not in cool regions. Yes, there are because the Eskimos are brown too. So,
exactly.
There's a problem with information and archives and archaeological sites being degraded, destroyed, or being whitewashed. It's a fact.
Right.
And this is the issue that I take right now. Now, a lot of information is coming out, which I think is phenomenal. I love that our young people are so spry, and they're really, they're really taking a lead in trying to find out information. My homeboys from UK who were working in genetics, they're geneticists, master geneticists. They're originally from Nigeria, one's from Tanzania. They're working diligently to do trying to find the markers for the indigenous bloodlines so that they can do actual testing that supersedes anything that we get here, because everything's been incepted over here.
Right.
And I hope that they're able to do that privately. And I can't give them shout-outs yet because, again, we know that there are many people being murdered right now for doing this and showing that. So when they get to a point where they're able to do this more vocally and publicly, then by all means, I'm gonna shout them to the mountains and make sure everyone goes and gets tested.
Right. Because now we still get that jackass Henry Louis Gates, who's just going around saying everybody is African. You know?
That's the problem.
And yes, but there's no genetic markers in which that states specifically how old, are you referring to? Is that before 400 years ago? How about 5,000 years ago when the Olmecs, had civilization here? How about 75,000 years ago with the Fosun? How about 2 million years ago with the Twa people, who you refer to as the Pygmy? There's been so-called black people here already. And there's a book called Forbidden Archaeology, The Hidden History of the Human Race by Michael Creedmoor and Richard L. Thompson. And they speak in there that there was a blast that was carried out in Dorchester, Massachusetts, where there was rocks that was blown out of a side of a hill. And what they found was a vase, and this vase was embedded inside a rock, in which that dates back to 600 million years ago.
Oh, wow.
So who in the hell was smelting metal 600 million years ago?
Thank you.
So they're trying to keep us confined within a 20,000-year period. It had to jump from 6,000 years because they knew that Bible thing just didn't make any sense. But now they're trying to confine us to a 10,000 to 20,000 year period now.
They're making up stuff.
I mean,
they make things up as they go. Yeah.
Right. Indeed.
And then we start to get into my thing is ETs, into melanated ETs, beings, and I don't want to say ETs because that seems real spooky. Our galactic family, what was here previous to anything else, who assisted us in creation, and who many of us come from. This is what I talk about a lot, and so on. And even in the book, The Ringmakers of Saturn, we talk about the Moors. But the Moors are even linked to Mars and to Saturn, because Norman Brugman, who wrote the book The Ringmakers of Saturn, detailed seeing a craft. Now he's someone who's notable. He's not not cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. He is he's credible. The book is actually phenomenal if anyone wants to get that. But he denotes the first time he saw an ET, an extraterrestrial, and it was a brother who was about 7 feet tall and was wearing a turban. And he said he was dark. Well, when in his interview, it's kind of funny when he says it because he's black. Exactly. Like it was so, like he was like, you can't mistaken that they were black brothers.
Right.
And many of the accounts of some of even the people that are contactees that I know who are having contact, some in parts of Australia, are seeing beings who are also wearing those turbans. And remember, we have the history of beings traveling back and forth at a time when we couldn't build crafts. Even the European couldn't build. That's why, slavery is a little bit of a huff and puff too, because how many people could they actually have brought on those ships? And how durable were those ships, because they didn't have that kind of architecture to build those crafts yet, or engineering skills. But we do know that there were Moors in the middle of the water who gave them the information to get over here. Why were they in the water? And we also know they were traveling back and forth. How were they able to have crafts that were able to do that? And what kind of technology or engineering skills did they have to be able to do these things? So, we can go a little further in saying that we did have assistance of beings, and I've really made it a point to discuss with people that people were saying they were having ET contacts, and a lot of the European sect of the UFO community and into extraterrestrial community only prefaced or talked about white extraterrestrials or grays. And it's interesting that that's all they will do is talk about these blonde-haired, blue-eyed beings. And Nordics, but even in that case, we know that there's gamma radiation once you go high enough in the atmosphere. In order to not be highly affected or degraded by that gamma radiation, the only way you can surpass past that point of going out into black matter is you would have to be hypermelanated. Now, you said that it is green. Yes, and a woman, because she's able to retain that type of radiation without degrading or breaking down. So we know that there's female cosmonauts because we found one. And, I've already gone into the Andromedans in this conversation, but it's interesting that I get the most battle from those from the European sects who have a hard time. Listen, you will believe in green people with scales. You will believe in, like, devilish type of demons. But as soon as I say that there's black, brown ETs, and God forbid they're female, you lose your mind and say it's an implausibility and impossibility. This is the kind of battle that's happening in the UFO community. Is that it would only be logical to say that if we're putting melanin on ships, we do that now. We spray melanin on rockets to be able to shoot up to our satellites. Why are we putting on melanin? It is to protect the surface of that craft. Why do we have to do that? Because it has to go past the gamma radiation fields, which is a great amount of radiation, and melanin absorbs it and disperses it. Or if you're a melanated person, it disperses it. It may not even disperse it. It may utilize it and transform it, which we saw in Chernobyl when they had the radiation leak in Russia. When Chernobyl had that big radiation thing, it was all they see around that old institution now is black mold, which is eating melanin, eating the radiation. It's literally feeding off of the radiation. This black, gooish mold that is highly melanated. And that's just a little example of what melanin does. And also when they did the experimentation on the little brown boys in Mississippi, when they were paying parents to have the children experimented on, very poor rural families, and they were exposing the little children to radiation to see how much they can take without breaking down and degrading. So why are they doing this? Why would you do this? Because you know that you can't travel. That's why I don't believe any astronaut that is non-melanated has ever left this atmosphere. That is BS. I'll call it out every time. There's no way. If they did, their brains would melt. They would not make it. It's a fact.
Exactly.
You have to have melanation to leave here. And that's why they were sending apes, too, as well, because the apes had more melanation and an active melanation to be able to surpass that. But that's the only way I believe it. And not all apes can go up there either. It has to be an ape that actually has melanation, not just, because you have to have a certain amount of melanation to travel out there as well. It has to bleed to the surface of your skin, not just be on your organs.
Right.
I'm sorry, I went on a tangent.
No. That's where we want to go. We want to get into the extraterrestrial sciences. But before we do, let me call on my co-host, Brother Fahim El. You here?
Yes. And how I tell you, Washington East.
Yeah, I tell you Washington East. All right. I got you on in, and I don't know if you got a chance to hear part of the discussion here. The guy that's been going on about the events in which that is taking place currently, in which that we know is the presidency, and Trump being the presidential elect, and how it could have been fixed or rigged because of him being in cahoots with Putin, and how Hillary is just shit out of luck, as we would say, because of the interplay between them two, and how it could have been also just 2 weeks ago. Now she brought this to the surface. 2 weeks ago, there was a cyber attack in which that was on the news, and they were saying that the cyber attack came from Russia. But then they also tried to spin it off and said that it came from China. But eventually they ended up saying that it came from quote unquote, the presidential candidate Hillary Clinton and her camp.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So there's a lot of strange things taking place here. So we're just trying to put everything into a box here so we can see how we can best fit everything. We was going also into the extraterrestrial thing, and how even in the conscious community, in particular amongst the so-called New Agers, how they attempt to reject the so-called quote-unquote melanated extraterrestrials, in which that we know that we being the original people on the planet Earth, that the people in space will have to look also like us, being that we're the oldest people on the planet Earth itself. It just makes sense.
Absolutely.
But of course, they always want to bring up the Nordic, the blonde hair, blue eyes, reptilians, as we know they are. As they, as that is nothing more than a mere disguised Ashtar.
Exactly.
We understand that. That these are some draconian beings. Also, that the grays aren't really gray. They're, whitish, pale, but at night they look kind of grayish when people keep talking about that they are gray. We know that the Anunnakian, the goddess broke down on the videotape that the Anunnakian seed is in Haiti. There's gold under Haiti. There's oil in Haiti. Matter of fact, the oil in Haiti was up to $120 billion. So Haiti is not depleted of resources as of yet. It is one of the richest areas, and this is why they sent the hurricane Matthews through, which was generated by HARP, to destroy, killed over 9,000 Haitians, my people, and then had the nerve to come and pull that shit through North Carolina, where it destroyed our property at, Brother Al, as you know. So this is an attack on those with, as the sister said, with the Anunnakian genes and genealogy. And the word Anunnaki means those who came from up there to down to earth. Based on the Chaldean, based on the Akkadian, based on the Mesopotamian cuneiform translation. However, I also translate that Anu means up there, as in sun, but also Naki symbolizes serpent. So when we say the serpent in the rainbow, we're talking about the seven chakras, and the Kundalini coming up through the seven chakras, to produce the sun at the seventh chakra, which is that sun that surrounds the head. So once again, as above, so below, as within, so without. That's the supreme axiom. So that word Anunnaki has several layers to it, and also the Palladians. I know you've been doing your videos on the Palladians as well as also on, the drama beings. Let's talk about them for a minute because a lot of people don't talk about them.
Well, I'm I've talked about the Andromedans for a little while. I'm a contactee of those particular females. But it took me many years to realize there was a link between them and a couple other beings. The Andromedans are brown, melanated, dreadlocked cosmonauts. That one of the Andromedans was found on the dark side of the moon. Of course, again, the European sect has claimed her as being something other than what she is. When you see a picture, I posted her picture several times. She looks like a sea star. She actually looks like Erykah Badu with her eyes closed. This is the seed of one of the Andromedan females. This Andromedan female has always existed here. She actually was assisting in rulership at a time in the Mayan Empire because she was originally from there. Again, another melanin dominant. The Mayan culture was full of richness and melanin. The people there were quite bronze and brown and dark, and that was their complexion. And actually, there were quite a few empires that were ruled by empresses before the time that the patriarch took full reign over those areas in the Yucatan arena. But they are also connected, those Andromedan females are also connected to Inanna, which is the Anunnaki daughter of Enki. Inanna herself was reigned and was head of some of the properties some of the kingdoms in Yemen and in parts of Ethiopia, linking that with ancient Kemet. Now, with the Anunnaki bloodline, they've purposefully, I don't know if you've seen the movie Avatar. Avatar is actually a story about Haiti. Nobody knows about that. It's the story of Haiti, the tree of life. What is the number one thing that they're doing right now in Haiti? They're deforesting. Why are they doing that? Because they're clearing the land for what? To get under to the gold. That's what they've been trying to do. That's why the Anunnaki were there. That bloodline was there to keep and protect and hold that up until their ancestors, the greater ancestors that were to come back on Nibiru. They were just the watchers, the ones who were guarding the area until family, basically the galactic family, would come back and return, which is about now. But all they've been doing consistently as the United States is breaking that, clearing off the people. And we also know that, I'm an advocate for the mothers and the babies there because a lot of the babies have been orphaned, and many Christian groups were going down there and getting those children and taking them to the States, especially in the Midwest, and using them as chattel and slaves. And again, we know that the organ market is high on melanin organs. Melanated organs are worth more than gold right now on the black market scene. And a lot of these babies were showing up missing, or body parts were missing and were taken. We were saying after the earthquake last time that HAARP generated, and we know that HAARP generated the earthquake in Haiti because right before this happened, there was I think it was in Switzerland, they had a summit, some sort of political summit, and the Haitian prime minister walked out, and they said, if you walk out, we're going to have a problem with us. Right after he walked out of that meeting, it was a heated meeting that they had at a summit. I think it was in Switzerland or in Sweden. I think it was a week later or 2 days later that they had the earthquake, that devastating earthquake in Haiti. And after that earthquake in Haiti, the Clintons made sure they went there and bought all the waterfront land and all the land there. We know our Haitian people there that are over there now saying that a lot of the land and everything was taken, and all the money given to the Red Cross was the money was crossed with the Clinton administration. They were almost like side by side. Like if we gave money to the Red Cross, the Clintons were, I don't know if they were ciphering the money through their organization, saying that they would take care of it.
Right,
and
that's what
we're talking about $1 billion something. You're telling me only 6 homes were built in Haiti with $1 billion something dollars?
Remember Bugs Bunny cartoons back in the days where Bugs Bunny and Elmer Fudd would be sitting down and he would be shelling out the money. He'd be like, 1 for you, 1 for me.
Yes.
1, 2 for me, 1 for you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? The shell game, type of thing with the monies. And that's what they was doing. That's the ciphering off that the Clintons were doing. So yeah, definitely. That's exactly what happened.
And that's why I'm not upset that Clinton didn't win. Remember, I'm not a supporter of either party. I have a problem with both of them. But I'm more as being a Francophone, I'm Martinican, and I have a problem with my Francophone people being abused and utilized. And I'm part of that community, and I know more so. And that's what I tell people. I said, the French people, we tend to kiki amongst each other, so we know what's going on in the back way. A lot of the people don't know because they, again, language sometimes separates us in culture. So sometimes things are not spoken out loud, or things are not translated appropriately that other people know exactly what's going on. But we know that the Clintons were buying up all that land, and they were using the money that they got from all those donations. You're telling me they had that crap load of money? And it's amazing that they bought land right next to where they plan to frack and try to get the oil from underneath the land along with the gold. And again, if you watch the movie Avatar, that is the story of Haiti, of inceptors coming in, trying to kill the mother tree, the tree of life, and that's basically what they're doing now, killing off all the wildlife. Haiti is the most beautiful, most resourceful island there is. And remember, as La Hispaniola, which is Dominican Republic and Haiti combined at one point, you're telling me that when I tell people they're saying possibly it's not HAARP, how do you know that? You know how I know that? Because it's impossibility. I'm from the Caribbean. You're telling me that you have an earthquake that only affects one part of the island and not the whole. It's one island. So Dominican Republic
exactly.
is not touched.
The earthquake
touched?
went to the border and stopped. Oh, they Mexican?
Come on, that's insane. That's insanity. And then you tell me also that Dominican Republic is not touched during the biggest hurricane that comes through there. So basically doesn't touch them, but it makes sure it clears off of all the Haitians. Come on now. We have to be a little more logical too.
Wow. That's deep.
So that is an issue. It is the same bloodline of Anunnaki that is in Haiti. It is the same migratory Haitians that went to Louisiana. That's why they cleared it off of Louisiana. They're trying to clear off a specific bloodline of Anunnaki to try to make it. This is draconian. This is definitely the draconians and the insectilians that are doing this. It's their white type of reptilians that work with the dark cabal, what some people call the Illuminatis. I don't give them that credence. I never call them that because they're not illuminated in any way, and I will never state them as that. Because they are parasitic, vampiric type of beings. All they do is feed, feast, and fornicate. That's what they do. That's how they're driven. That is their genealogy. That is their species type. So I don't call them anything. But what they try to do is because the Anunnaki Planet X, which some people call Nibiru, is coming home. The mothership is coming back in in line of sight. Because of that, they want to clear off as many of that bloodline as possible because those are the ones that are going to be activated. When I say activated, meaning that your genealogy will start to have some of its memories. When the mothership comes back, she activates her children, her starseeds. And when that happens, as you see with the brown people on the planet right now, a lot of people are waking up, eating better. Girls are getting natural hair. You notice there's a mass awakening. That's because Mama's back. And she's coming back to she doesn't know. Remember, Nibiru is not a planetoid. It is a ship, but it goes around in a cycle. Remember, their lifespan is longer than ours. So for them, they could be gone for, let's say, 3 days. And for us, it's like 1,000 years. You see what I'm saying? So they're like parents that left home and left guardians here to watch the children and the seeds come to fruition. But when they left, the draconians, some of the guards here, killed off many of the seeds and have kept them hostage, feeding and utilizing them. Now they're coming back into the peripheral, into the line of the planet again, and a lot of the draconians are terrified. So they're trying to kill off all the seeds so that they don't have numbers.
Right.
And many of the Bible, the Quran talk about these days. They all speak about the angels, the ones from the heavens. The stories are all the same, just different books, different belief systems carrying them.
So you said the Clintons been buying property in Haiti.
During
the disaster.
My language, yes.
And they've been buying up land and
Absolutely.
only built 6 homes out of all that money they got.
I've asked, 6 homes out of $120 billion, Brother L.
Ain't that something?
And wait. We still have tent cities. We still have people living in tents on hills, dangerous hills. There's no running water. There's no wells. You have them, cholera broke out because of it's not sanitary. Because when you're going to the bathroom so close, you get that many people going to utilize the river and the waterways for the bathroom, then you're going to start to get outbreaks of simple things like, bacteria that we normally would just take care of with antibiotics or just good hygiene.
That's nothing but
They're
toxic.
Being close to that. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Nothing but toxic. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. A lot of people this morning I was looking at Channel 4 this morning, Channel CBS this morning, and how I saw something of the saddened faces this morning, and I was surprised. I said they were looking for Hillary Clinton to win, and I really didn't care because I know it's all a facade.
It is.
And Donald Trump is not going to do half of that stuff he told them people he's going to do.
Yes,
he's not going to do half of that. He's not going to do half of that stuff because he has to do what the people tell him what to do.
That's exactly. He's a slave now. He's not going to like it. He's not that type of person. Again, this man is an egregious wealthy man who's not used to keeping in perimeters. He usually quits and starts over again from scratch with his marriages, with his businesses. He's not used to having strongholds to anything. He's real whimsical. He's going to have a difficult time, and they're going to have a difficult time with him.
Yeah,
so
they're going to stress him out like they did Obama.
Absolutely. They'll do exactly what they did, even worse. And even with Hillary Clinton, my issue with her is I am a defender of children and families and babies. I can never support a woman. First of all, she's a Satanist and a witch. That we were saying if she was voted in, she'd be the first witch in the public office that took off. She is, but she is a witch, but she is a Satan of the Satanist fact. She's a Satanist. It's a fact. She's molested. You have young ladies talking about she's molested and raped them. I mean, all the rumors about her being a homosexual was true. She was raping and harming young girls, her and her husband. That is a fact. These women have come out. They've kind of tried to put it underneath the table, try to pay them off.
The first one to come out with it was Kathy O'Brien, who said that Hillary Clinton was obsessed with the way that her vagina was cut.
Yes.
Wow.
And this was nearly 20 years ago.
That's right. And just to be honest, she's done more tyrannical things on the back leg, especially to brown people. I mean, with the Planned Parenthood, she's part of that whole sect of bringing in the Planned Parenthood in every brown community so that the babies are killed. I mean, she's in bed with so many demons. It's disgusting. I wouldn't have supported her even if she hung upside down and put cleansed herself with sage. I wouldn't touch her. She's dirty.
Right.
Her and her family are dirty. They're Satanists. And where this is a win for us, and I have to say this, is that the Satanists have had control of the political system in the United States from inception, from when they came here. This is the first time we do not have a candidate that is part of the Satanist sect. Remember, there's lots of witches and lots of occultists. There's all kinds of Masons and different things. Satanists are part of that system, but they're separate. She is a Satanist. She particularly follows the Satanist rules of delegation and practices, meaning that they eat children, they harm babies, and they also have all kinds of sexual rituals where they invoke demons. That's a fact. That's what Satanists do, okay? So that's what she's come from. This is the first time we have a president that is not part of that. Even Obama's kin were Satanists. He was bloodline to the Satanists. He is bloodline to the Queen, as the Clintons are. Direct bloodline. Now, if you notice, with Trump is a little bit of a difference. The only people I know who have an interest in Trump are the white, tall, quote-unquote aliens. They're claiming him right now, which is interesting. But remember who Trump's wife is. A couple months ago, I made a video on it. I know people, I know I'll go on the tinge with this, but there's a group of what I consider to be insectilians. I don't think there's a bunch of reptilians ruling. I think at the top tier, it's insectilians. And how I can kind of tell you that that's true is that why do they call everything a colony? Everything's colonized, right? Why do we have a queen? So the language in itself will also detail the species that are ruling, okay? We use a lot of verbiage that is connected to insect type of things. We bug everything, So this is on the top tier, there are beings that are not even reptilians. They're something else, insectilians. Trump's wife, before he even was running, I said she has very insectilian ways. I said a lot of the insectilian queens will attach themselves to very notable males that are of power. Not only that, where is Trump's wife from? He's friendly with Russia, but his wife is from that arena. She's from that area. Where is she from? Who is she? She has very insectilian ways. If you look at her, we talk about it, I do videos on this, and I don't want to scare anybody because they'll be like, oh, God, she's going on a tangent. But insectilian females are actually very feminine. Yeah. No, say that again?
I said get them. Go at them.
Okay. Well, there's insectilian queens that I've it's my thought because I surmise things based on the information I get, the tons of conversations and intel that I get from people that I kiki with, that I speak to, a lot of the research I did. And I've been in this world for a long time. I'm not a young I'm not a young chick. I'm seasoned. So I've been in this world for a while.
Right.
What I noticed with the insectillion type of queens, like Amber Rose, which I call that to be one, and also Kim Kardashian, they have hypersexualized pheromonic qualities that put men under spell. When they do this, they make sure they attach to males that will be something or politically active enough to attach to, or they'll place these insectillion queens with entertainers that they feel they want to control. Like what's her name's husband? What's his name? The rapper, the one that's Kim Kardashian's married to.
Kanye West.
Kanye West. But if you notice, they had attached him to an insectillion first with Amber Rose. She was the first one.
Right.
It didn't work out so well. She wasn't strong enough. They set her up with another insectillion queen, which is Kim Kardashian. Now, Kim Kardashian comes from an old line of insectillions, and they're all witches as well. That's why their husbands are under their spell. These women this is what they do. That's one of their qualities as a species. They're able to enchant men and keep them under the spell. Now, Africans talk about this. You have African tribes who speak about these queens. Sometimes they're reptilian, but sometimes they're insectillions. They talk about these women that men would just walk by them and would be enchanted by them and could not leave them alone. This is a fact. This is a quality of certain females that they have this, where they keep men under their spell. And it's not a spell. They have this pheromonic. It's a chemical type of ability that they are. Once a male smells this or gets into their peripheral, they're able to get him under mind control, and they will change his physiology based on the proximity and more sexual activity they have with these queens, the more under their spell that they are, because they're picking up pheromones internally. And I know I go. So anyway, Trump's wife, I called it like this is before he ran. I said she reminds me of an insectillion queen. They're very ambiguous in look. They look multi-raced. They don't look like black, white, or anything. They look like a mixture. All the insectillion queens I've noticed they look real ambiguous. You couldn't tell their race if you wanted to. They almost look like every race perfectly matched in one. And I think that Trump's wife is an insectillion queen that was set up to set him up, and that's why he has good ties with Clinton. I think the Russians have been known to send insectillion queens over here to get the congressmen enchanted so they can get information, to get intel. I think they set him up for him before, and that's why he won.
Okay.
That's just my opinion.
Like a lot of them, they're unconscious people. He got a lot of Republicans in the House now. Yeah, he's a Republican. They Republicans. I said they're gonna tear that man ass up.
They will. I
said they can't wait till they get over to him. That's why Obama invited him to the White House tomorrow.
Yeah, he didn't even look that happy that he won. He looked a little nervous. I was watching his. I mean, he looked happy, but this is a man with a lot of reverence. I could feel his concern. I could feel it. Like he knows.
He looked like he was surprised that he won.
He was.
He was shocked, almost shocked.
Yes.
Well, you in trouble, boy. You in trouble.
Yeah, it's not a game. Look how gray Obama got in a matter of 8 years.
Exactly.
He was stressed out. The only thing that Trump doesn't have to worry about because he has hair plugs, so we won't see his gray, but we'll see him be affected.
See more wrinkles on his face. I know that.
You will. He'll be stressed out. But as far as I'm concerned, I think there's a tie-in to a couple of things going on politically and with the shift of the planet and with the arrival of many of our galactic ancestors. I think it's all tied into one. I think that's why I say this was not a loss. It was a win in that an old regime, an old sector that has always ruled over the United States since it's been created as a corporation is gone. It's the first time that's ever happened. That's a win. That's a win. Now, would we have liked to see a different candidate?
That's exactly
we can't
what,
get everything.
Alex Jones was talking about how that was a win. However, if Donald steps out of line, he said we'll be bashing on here too. so that was interesting that he said that.
Yeah.
But allegedly, we know that Donald Trump is doing court after the election day, which is allegedly because of the FBI continuing investigation of child rape and racketeering charges. Same thing with Hillary.
Hillary, right?
That's what is claimed.
Okay.
That's what is claimed. That's a raw story, which you can get that at rawstory.com.
Okay.
About a 13-year-old girl that allegedly he raped. But these are all stories in which that should have took him down. If that was the case.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, like we're going to wait and observe because, again, this man hasn't made. We got to see if he makes it to inauguration because, like I said, people were trying to pop him off every time they come on the stage, and that's only when he was running. You've got a lot of very angry, hostile people, that are deep in the Matrix and Matrix mindset, and they've taken this as like do or die kind of thing. And the fact of the matter that they closed up the border to Canada, and if those are Muslim people trying to leave, if they were worried about terrorism, he should be concerned about it coming at him now. Because if you're going to say all these horrendous things of what you're going to do to people who are, I know many of Muslims that are here. They've been here for years. It doesn't matter. They live out the American dream like everybody else. I know more hostile Puerto Ricans than I know hostile Muslims. So, just the fact that he's detailed and put these people under scrutiny and fear, it's going to be his backlash. It might be to his end.
Yeah, like I said, if you notice how when Obama won the election the first time, if you notice how Bush was so glad to leave that office.
He was.
He was really happy.
Yes, he's a drinker too. Bush wanted to throw back some more beers without being looked at like a drunk. He wanted to enjoy his life and not be under the scrutiny of consistently always being spied on, looked at, can't do anything. You can't have any privacy. I mean, it's not a position. Taking presidency is not a position for the very weary and the very modest and very meek.
Exactly.
It's not.
Because he's not used to that. His life as he know it now it's gone.
He can't get massages and have sex with little girls anymore in privacy. Everything he does is going to be looked at, scrutinized, and put under a magnifying glass.
Exactly.
He has to be on schedule. The president has a schedule from 7 o'clock in the morning to 5 o'clock when he goes to sleep daily. He's not used to that. He has boardrooms. When he doesn't want to go to work, he sends his cronies out to work his boardrooms. That's what he's always done.
Right, and plus this was, this is why people saying that the election was rigged due to the fact that this is 11/9 as compared to 9/11, the reverse.
Yeah.
And and of course, this 11/9 symbolizes the fact of him coming into play and being announced as the winner 2 o'clock in the morning, which was on 11/9. So,
wow.
This right here shows that, him getting elected as the president-elect on the 11/9, the reverse of 9/11 symbolizes a ritual.
A reversal. It's an inversion.
Right,
yeah.
the reversal. Hopefully he'll go in the reverse of what took place in the 9/11 with the fear tactics, and lead towards somewhat more peace. That is what is being speculated or stated anyway by Alex Jones. I doubt it.
Okay.
However, that's what is being speculated.
Well, he's also the 45th president, which is a 9. We're going into 999, which is 9 ether beings are coming back. It can't be positive for him. He's the typical white male. White supremacy is leaving. So I can't imagine him being successful in his term. Just the 9 alone is going to place him, because he's the opposite. Remember, 666 is the European. Even though it's the molecular structure of carbon, it is the inversion of 999. When we existed on this planet, especially when we flourished as people of color, we were under the 9 ether, type of vibration, and we're going back to 999. And it's interesting that he took a 9, as president. Yeah. So it's not going to be for his benefit. It's probably going to end up hurting.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah.
He's coming into a crumbling empire. Because this empire is getting ready to fold.
Well, you've got children walking out of high schools now, beautiful brown children. You've got a world that's just breaking apart consistently. We are at the end of their cycle. Their cycle is done. We're going back to 9 ether being vibration. Nothing that is not in that sitting well in that vibration can last or survive.
And there are
we got the second and third
Trump riots going on right now in the city.
Really?
Oh, where? Peace, goddess.
Peace. How you doing? Yeah, Philly. And
peace, Sister Kadira.
Peace, y'all. Y'all said where in
they're
Philly?
protesting coast to coast. My father-in-law just gave me the update on what's taking place. So, they're rioting.
Oh.
Go ahead, Queen. Tell them what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are rioting. They're basically chanting together things like pussy grabs back, and things like Black Lives Matter, trans lives matter. They just go in, y'all.
Oh.
It's all complex. Just everybody's rioting.
Yo, that's going to be catchy, too. It's going to catch. It's not, like I said, it's a 9. He's not going to fare well. His life is going to, this might be the beginning. Well, this might be the catalyst for what they said was the revolution of the melanated person, because for us to get back to ourselves, we have to discard and disrobe of this matrix formula. And this might be what needed to happen for us to do that.
Yeah.
True indeed.
Absolutely.
Oh boy.
I mean, interesting. Well, I'm excited to observe the entertainment part of this, but I do hope that our we have to be mindful that for the last couple of years now they've been preparing themselves with weaponry for this and FEMA camps, and there's a reason why they did that.
Right.
Exactly, to use them. And so anybody out there protesting
anticipated this day.
in that manner would be a pawn in order to be utilized within the particular concentration camps or detain centers or whatever term that they want to use.
Well, if our people know better, we know that we are everlasting beings, and if we go, we need to be bowdy. I mean, we literally have to go balls to the wall. We can't chant and we can't protest anymore, because that's just consistently doing the same thing we always did. If we want something different, we're going to have to bring it to the fullest level,
right.
Without fear of death. Because remember, as carbon beings, we recycle. Our souls are everlasting. So it is what it is. And the ancestors will support. They will only support us when it's the same answer that the Christians say, God only does for those who do for themselves. If they see you as a punk and you're punking out and you're scared, they want the best for us, but they want us to want more for ourselves and fight for our own selves.
Right.
We can't sit idly keeping our hands up in the air expecting that's going to happen. Dudes are getting shot with their hands in the air. That's not working.
The number one thing that can hurt them the most, the biggest thing that can hurt them the most, is 90% of us get nationalized.
Oh, that would be nice. That would be nice.
I say at least 90%.
We would have to all be remember,
that's what I'm saying.
Many of us are not.
That's what I'm saying. But I know what you're saying too.
I mean,
and on top of that, 90% of us getting our own businesses and being inspired to do the sacred work, such as breathing techniques and, just like the goddess was saying, eating right. We also not putting these chemicals in our hair so our antennas can, and our spirits can lead us properly. So I feel like we're ready, but sometimes you don't know until you have to go through the situation, So
yeah.
we just can't see her. I was just garbing the whole world with gold light, garbing ourselves with gold light. Everything is going to work out. It always does. Just like you said, we recycle.
Yeah. Discomfort is the biggest catalyst for change. It's the motivation to change. We don't change when we're apathetic. We don't change when we're comfortable. We only change when we're uncomfortable. You put someone in an uncomfortable position, they're not going to sit there too long. They're going to strike out. They'll either totally give up or they'll go for gold. You know what I mean? So we have to be uncomfortable, and this is actually probably a good way. Maybe this fear, the motivation of maybe this Clinton, for most Clinton was hope for them still. Maybe the loss of that hope is going to bring people to the point where they're like, you know what, if I can't live well, if I can't have security for myself and my family, I'm a grab it, I'm a take it. And if I don't live, then I just don't. But I'm going to make sure I try my hardest to get it that way. Because you don't get anything from begging. You take your freedom. Freedom is not something you ask for. You just take it.
Right. Right.
And I'm not saying go
and then
all
you have
war, but I'm just saying. Oh no, go ahead, Queen.
I'm sorry, we were trying to say it at the same time, but I was noticing that you had this goddess, and she had natural hair, and she was saying we were slaves because we chose to be. That goes back to what you were saying. You have to take freedom. Freedom.
Yes.
Yes, we've always heard that saying.
We've always been free. Remember, they've been perpetuating those thoughts. They've been projecting things upon us, and we've accepted it. We were always free. Our notion of not being free is something we've taken on from them. That's their projection onto us. We have freedom. Listen, I always tell people, because someone was talking to me, I'm a foreigner. My family comes from foreign people. People are saying, oh, my God, I hate this country and so on. You really don't. If you really hate it and you're not fearful, get the hell out. You know what I mean? It's that simple. When you're ready, you will do what's necessary to get to the next point. You're not ready. When people really want something, they do it. I see young men do anything to get a new pair of sneakers, fresh and fly. They will go hook and crook to get it. We need to have that motivation for bigger, grander things that are more long-term. That's what we have to do. And many brown people are uncomfortable. Are we uncomfortable enough to take the steps to the new level and not participate with any of these people at all and just say, listen, we're not effing with y'all, and if you come at us, we're going to come with our lives, and you're going to lose a whole lot more of your people. And remember, white people don't like losing lives. They don't get to lose that as much as we see more lost lives in our communities than they see in theirs. They don't like to lose lives. They don't. They take it more personally. We've gotten numb to that a little bit.
That makes sense. Because the FBI stood down to when the whole town, nobody died, and then everybody was acquitted. So that makes sense. And then also, too, I remember the conversation that was going on after Gavin Long supposedly shot up Dallas, Texas. No, Louisiana.
Mm-hmm.
The whole energy on the TV, it was like coming together and love, which they're trying to utilize that same vibration now, coming together and love.
Uh-huh. They only want to come together if it's advantageous for them, but they don't want to come together if it's advantageous for us. I mean, you can't have it both ways. You can't only want to do it when it's, beneficial to you and your people, but then you're okay. I talk to, I live in a world where I talk to Becky's all the time. You can't be cool. If you can't be my home girl if you're okay with my babies dying incessantly, and that doesn't make you bat an eye. You're still eating your Frosted Flakes in the morning, and that doesn't bother you. You can be my homegirl if my life and my children's life affects you, and if they're degraded, if they're harmed in any way, that makes you feel like crap, and that makes you want to fight for me. That's the only way I'm rocking with anybody who's not looking like me. And I have homegirls like that, but there's not many. We have to get to that point, and I'm cool. Listen, I'm cool knowing that me and my ancestors, I'll do what's necessary for my little people to extend their lives, to live well, and even if I have to be a martyr to do it, I'm cool with that. But I'm gonna do it in a way that I make sure that if I go that route, I'm a win, and I'm gonna make sure anybody around me has that same mindset.
Right. If you notice, most of the Europeans that have been to space, they can't deal with space like a melanated person can. We had a few melanated astronauts that went to space, but when they came back, they were more they had a more shorter recovery than the European astronauts. Have you ever noticed that?
I my answer is I don't think they ever went to space. I personally know that you need melanin to go there. The brothers might have gone. They might have simulated the act, and they may have thought they left because they've done that. They have holographic technology to make people think that they've gone somewhere where they haven't. I personally don't think that they've ever left the stratosphere. I don't think they can. I personally know if you go into that gamma radiation, you have to have a lot of melanin to protect your organs, or will melt you down. And if you go to any radiation station that is like Chernobyl or over in Fukushima, those people are highly, they're dying, their organs are melting, but they were sending native type or darker type of people over there who had more tolerance for the radiation. That's a fact.
Okay, because I
don't
noticed
think Europeans have
seem like they age real fast. They age like, I don't know, they age. When they like you said, when they supposed to call themselves going into space, whatever, and they come back, they age. I mean, man, like almost like a couple of years older, or maybe more.
They're not meant for that.
Makes sense. Closer to the ozone layer, but actually, like the guy that said, they did not go anywhere. They just went like 100,000 feet into the atmosphere. They don't have, actually, they even put melanin at the tip of the spacecraft so they could go.
That's
Y'all
right.
remember the challenge blew up? I believe that was in '85, and then that was the last time it was televised.
Yeah. They can't even deal with that.
No. I know that there are beings leaving here in jump rooms because they've spoken about that. There's plenty of intel, super soldiers, people who've talked about leaving here in what we consider to be stargates, which they do have natural stargates on the planet. There's places, pinnacle places, especially in Yemen, in Israel. We have them here in the States. There are places where people go and they can leave and go to other places. But that's the only place the European is leaving through. He cannot leave this planet through a ship, via ship. That's why when they talk about contactees and abductees, if you ever talk to, and I've talked to now thousands of brown abductees, maybe 1,500. I'll say about 1,500. 1,500 brown contactees and abductees. What you'll notice the difference between the two when they talk about their having alien interaction, many of the brown people will talk about how they feel like they're going up in the air. They don't put anything protective around them. But what the white people will say is that they're beamed up or they put in something. There's a little bit of a difference in how the contact is happening. And I've only surmised that because of that data that have taken so far, just quantifying those likenesses, that brown people don't need to be protected when they go up in the stratosphere, but white people do. They can't go up the same. Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And
it shows,
Yes. And also when the brown people are being taken on ships, they're not being probed. They're not getting as much of the different types of, when the European people are having contact or abductee experiences, they're getting violated. They're getting probes, needles stuck in them, sometimes anal probes, things put in their stomach. Brown people who are having contact are usually having more pleasant contact, almost like it's their family, like the people know them. They're more gentle with them, the beings. There's less of that egregious type of behavior. It makes me think that when we're taken up, we're going to those who exceeded us personally with their genomes. The Europeans are something else, and they're
like the late Raleigh Martin used to talk to him back in the days, and he had pleasant experiences.
Yes, wasn't he on wasn't he on what's his name show?
He used to be on Howard Stern's show.
Yes, I love him. Yes, he had a good experience. He had good experiences, and that's what you'll hear. Majority of people, even highly religious people, who don't have the verbiage to say that they're having contact. When you talk to them, it's interesting because they're having contact with beings, but they'll equate it to like Jesus or angels or something like that. But if you compare the two, like someone who's saying they're having ET contact and someone who's saying they've been touched by angels or taken by angels, it's literally the same type of activity. It's literally the same, almost directly the same thing happening to both of them. But just one has a different way of describing it. So Christians are being taken too. They just don't have the words for it. Yeah.
Right.
Indeed. We're going to go to the phone line. We have a question, area code 843. Area code 843. You're on the air. Please, area code 843.
Yes, I'm saluting you, brothers and sisters, and I'm saying greetings, and I'm on mute. Very professional.
Appreciate God.
Greetings. I wanted to speak on something that you were tapping on earlier, but I'm just going to go here. There's a brother that's down here. Well, I'll start here. There's some elders that was hoping that Trump win because they acknowledged and realized, just like what the sister was saying, that the only time we will wake up and do something is when our backs are against the wall. Mm-hmm. And that is going to force us to come together like we should, because it don't matter what box you in as far as religions and things like that. Just like Malcolm and Martin, you know, right before they took Martin out, he realized that Malcolm was right, you know, that we should come together. It's not about, you know, religion or those kind of beliefs. And what she was speaking on, this brother down here was telling me about it. Well, actually, he was talking to another brother that studies African spirituality. And he said that he's having challenges and he's kind of tired of dealing with it. And the brother just said, you keep going. Sooner or later, you're going to wake up in the middle of the night and there's going to be 3 or 4 brothers 15 feet tall with afros, and then you know you're behind his home.
Yes.
You know, he said because it happened to him. So, you know, she's on it. You know, y'all are definitely on it. You know, and I appreciate this conversation because that's really what we need to be talking about. You know, because like she said, that sister that they found in that craft, she was tall. It's all over YouTube. You know, she had locks in her hair. You know, it looks like some of that old Dogon burial rituals. She had the things in her eyes and her lips. Yeah. And she was fine, too, like Erica.
She was. But she also, the apparatus that they use to run their ships, they use their third eye. They use their mind power, which we were capable of utilizing before. Many of us use it now. That's how we communicate with our brothers and sisters from abroad. We used to talk to them through our telepathy. And she utilizes that, which you'll notice that when people talk about beings running the ships, they run it with their minds. The ship is actually symbiotic to their bodies. And the ship is actually created with conception that this being will run it. I don't know if you saw Prometheus. Prometheus kind of had that being who ran the ship with their own mind. So it's, the ship is part of the body too. It's almost like part of as some of the biological qualities of the being. So that apparatus that she had on her actually helps her to focus when she's running her ship. That's why her third eye had that little bit. She has a little bit of an indentation in her third eye, and that's why they make such a big deal with us utilizing it. Yeah.
Exactly, and they're messing with the food and all of those things, striving to keep people shut down.
Yeah.
But just like the yogis and things say, everything comes with the breath. You know, your breath and your intention. You know, which is one of the main things that I say to people. We don't acknowledge, well, most of us unconsciously don't acknowledge that we make choices every day. So if we strive to make more positive and more loving choices, things will automatically change. You know, because I think that is the key. You know, going back to that Hey Love music, it was always about love. You know.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. Remember the music? Now even the music, it's changed the toning. I've had to put an app on my phone so that any music comes in, it goes through 435 and above, because all the music, the toning is low. It lowers. Remember, our bodies are mostly water too. So remember, just like when you talk to water, the Japanese scientists, you know, made a wonderful he wrote a book on this, how you can change the frequency by, saying loving words to your water changes the molecular structure to something beautiful, and the geometric shapes are beautiful. And then when you say terrible things, it turns into these jaded figures.
Right.
But it's the same thing with listening to this low vibrational music. It changes the composition of your molecular structure in your body. So anytime you listen to
Dr. Masaru Emoto with hidden water, hidden principles of water, or hidden life of water.
Beautiful. And he actually changed the whole game because we can conceptualize that now. But you listen to all the music, it is. So, literally some of the music, because I don't listen to it as often. I'm old school, so I still listen to my old school music. Yes, I do. But I'll listen to some of the music. Somebody will be playing it. It'll go straight to my lower chakra. It'll go straight to my root. Yeah, and it affects you sexually. And then you wonder why people are mating with entities that are not. That's why babies are coming out a little more, because we're mating with entities based on the fact that we're being stimulated in our lower chakra, our primal chakra, and that affects how we mate as well. So people are mating with beings they normally wouldn't mate with, based on the fact that they're being invoked through their chakra, their lower chakras, and it's perpetually making us make lower decisions based on primal, like fight, flight,
lower emotions.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And if I may interject, that's another reason I tell you, if you spend time with these young people, like I have a grandson, he's 5 now. I call him a 98-year-old man because he's so wise, and he's somewhat perverted towards women that he really likes. But if he don't, he's been like that since he was a year old. If he don't care for a woman or her vibration and things like that, he will turn his head. But if he likes her, pull her hair, and he was doing that at a year old. And I think that's another reason why they're labeling children MDDR and all of those things. But even those children who they do have Down syndrome or whatever, if you spend time with them, you will really see how wise they are. So
they're beautiful. Those are the old souls,
Yes. These children that are coming back now, they are powerful, and they should be our teachers. I love that scene in The Matrix. I love that scene in The Matrix when that girl told Neo, "You don't bend the spoon, you bend your mind," or however she said it.
Yes, absolutely. And it's true, but the children also, they are our ancestors, and also they're coming in, like many of us are still from analog, and some of us have upgraded to digital. The children are coming in digital and prepared for the new energies, and they're equipped to offset some of the attacks that the environment's going to do on them. And what we see is those children have protective qualities. And those special autistic children, they're really quite spry. They're just different. They're not what we were used to seeing, because they're new beings coming in for the right situation at the right time. We're just labeling them something else.
That's peace.
But all will be well. I see a beautiful future for us. I really do. I just think everything has to fall apart in order to rebuild. That's all.
All things are that way. You got to break things down to make them new. That's right. Clear that soil and, plant new seeds. Ashe. Thank you, family. Thanks, Doc.
All right. Appreciate you. Thank you, bro.
All
right. We got about 8 more minutes. Any closing statements? Oh, hold on. We got one more call. Hold on. We got area code 630. Area code 630. You're on the line for the 8 last minutes.
Peace, God. This is Master Musa El-Bey.
Peace, bro. How are you?
I'm good. I was just calling in. I'm trying to see what's the app she was speaking on that'll change the tone of any music that you're playing through the phone.
It's called 432 megahertz. You can get on the app like on your iPhone or your Galaxy, whatever phone you have. It's 432. Right. It says 432 megahertz. It'll help, like any music that comes through your phone, it'll just change the vibration and raise it, so that even if it's low vibrational, it'll just raise it.
432 is the musical notes of natural music. That's the hertz frequency of natural music. 440 is what they have us under now, which is too high, too fast. So It's not natural. It's out of sync.
Yep.
You know, so yeah, 432 hertz is definitely the frequency that you want to be on.
Yeah.
The Dr. York meditation, that's at 432 too, right?
I believe it is. Yeah, he was dealing with that.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah, another thing. AIT Washita, I forgot to greet everybody on.
It's all right.
That's all I was calling in. I'm just checking in on
all
you.
Right. All right.
Yeah, when you going to send me that information I was asking you for, God?
What was it? Because you got to remind me. I'm so busy and everywhere. What's going on?
You remember we were waiting on you to
I probably hit you on Facebook, let you know what information it was.
Okay. Say it again, Goddess. Say it again.
I was just saying that's a good idea.
Okay. All right.
All right, peace, God.
I got you. All right. I know what you're talking about, Brother Musa. I got you.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just getting back from Dallas, so I got you.
Okay.
All right.
Peace.
All right.
Appreciate you. All right, we got area code 404. Area code 404, you're on the line.
Peace.
Peace. Area code 404.
I apologize. I had to mute it. I apologize. I'm inside
right,
the
that's what I thought. All right.
Peace to the whole metaphysical family. I just got a couple questions I want to ask. Now this might be off the subject line. It's one book I'm looking for. It's The Death of Life by the Yogi book. And y'all,
right.
I think the Hindu, the Indians. That's something that's like very important to me right now. But beyond that, what I want to talk about, I want to talk about the island of melanated people that don't let no other, I guess, racial people on their island. And they're supposed to be like a blue-black tone. And I wanted to know what's the blue-black natural, I guess, molecular skin level that they have. What do the blue and black represent?
All right.
Who's he?
I don't know if you got a chance to hear what he said, Goddess.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
I can ask again. I can readdress it. Oh, if you heard it, you can answer it. No problem.
All right. He was asking about the blue black. There's an island in which that has been talked about, in which that there's beings, people who's there that's blue black, as far as their coloration or pigmentation, melanin.
Okay.
What is the significance of being that particular hue?
Oh, well, that's many of us, the galactic family, before they come to this planet, they have a blue or green tinge. That's the color we come from. The beings that come from outer in the galaxy, they usually have they're melanated, but they usually have a blue or green tinge. What happens is that when they come to our atmosphere, based on the way that the different the way we're oxidized with certain iron, it changes our skin to brown or black. So those who are holding that color, and they're isolated, I would think that they might be more inner earth beings. Their island might have an inner earth entry, and that's why they're able to hold that blue tinge still. It's very difficult for us to hold that blue tinge anymore with our atmosphere being so changed. We have a lot more carbon in our atmosphere because of the carbon emissions. And also we have a lot more iron in our atmosphere than some of the other planets have, which changes their color after a while to like a darker brown or to like a black itself. So I think they're beings that are probably more connected to Series B because they do have that color, that bluish tinge. And also I think that they may be from inner earth. They might be beings that have an inner earth. That's why they're probably isolating themselves so that nobody finds that area or can incept on that entry point. Because the inner earth beings tend to hold that color still. They have the most magnificent bluish tinge to them with the black color underneath it. So I'm assuming, I don't know which island they're talking about, but I'm just assuming based on that, it's because they still have access to a place where they're not as exposed to the elements like most people are. That changes their color.
I believe he's talking about over in India, the Aminda people who are very, who look just like us, look African.
Their god is blue. Yeah, their god is blue. That's the inner earth beings. Any of the inner earth beings, the one that has the multi arms that they worship, that's because those are beings that are still living in the inner earth. And remember, most of the inner earth beings don't live on the surface of the planet, but they do occasionally come up and they do breed with us, depending on where you're located. In India, especially the most south of India, that's probably where that isolated island is. And they still have, India has some of the most magnificent places where, they still have beings that are from here that do a lot of the things we used to do when we were in our ancient, biological state. And holding the color of the ancestors is one of them.
Hey, am I still in queue?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Antarctica? I heard that there's a pyramid there. Somebody's talking.
Right. In Antarctica, you heard there's a pyramid there?
Yeah, there's a pyramid there that's supposed to be one of the biggest on the planet. And I seen a small part of a documentary on TV, and they were talking about that's one of the places that Hitler was sending his metaphysicians to.
Yeah, yeah. The government blocked most of the points. Yeah, most of the points, no one can go there. They have treaties and signed, a couple of nations have signed a free space zone where only their highest ranking officials can go there. Everybody else is banned from going there. And yeah, the Nazis have an inner earth point where they have militarized that area and no one can go in and out. And when you see it on Google Earth, you can actually see a opening there on that side where probably that pyramid is located. Remember, the inner earth beings were, the Nazis were in contact with beings that were from the inner earth. So when they did their exodus, some of them went over to that arena and entered inside of the earth. Others went into Central America and South America, the Nazis.
And of course, they also found areas of plush grassland areas there within the Antarctica, in which that is not frozen over with snow. And those are the areas in which that they're blocking off, and some state, based on the flat earth theory, that is the edge of no return. At least that's what they say.
Wow.
I'm not a component of the flat earth theory per se, but because I do believe that the earth is round, but it's more oblong like an egg, sideways and flattened at the poles. But they do say that that the Antarctica was closed off based on the fact that is the point of no return, that particular area. But we know that there was an airman that flew, what's his name, Admiral, what's his name? Can't think of his name right now, but he flew over the Antarctica and seen the hollow earth, what became known as the hollow earth theory. He's seen those areas, and these are the areas in which that some say are actually being closed off too, which, as the guy has said, leads down into the center of the earth, or leads down into particular worlds, inner worlds, in the planet, in which that, such as there's Shangri-La or Shambhala, as they call it, Agatha, and different other inner cities in which that are there. So, this is what is also being said is being closed off, keep people from going there and doing an investigation. Hell, they doing that in the Grand Canyon. There's 18 temples in the Grand Canyon of the ancient Egyptians and others, in which that, the Temple of Ra, the Temple of Aset, and so forth and so on, and they closing it off, to keep us out. And that's the Smithsonian. So there's a lot of information that is being hidden.
All has to be revealed, though. They had a time frame where they could keep that, but the fact that you're having this format and this platform and alerting people is a testament that it's the age of information. So no matter what they've hidden, we're finding out that they've done it. Even with the Olmec heads that they were finding in parts of I think it was Virginia, they found they were covering them with concrete. Every time they would find one, they would try to cover and hide it. But people would, other people would talk about it. Like truckers would pass by and they'd see it and they'd tell other people and then it would come out. So they can hide as much as they want. This information is coming out. So It is what it is. But as far as inner earth, those inner earth beings, there's guardians watching a lot of these doorways. And their vibration is like a sun on the inside of the earth as well, almost like what we have on the outside, that energizes and allows for, plants to grow at super heights. Giants live inside the earth. We have a lot of beings living on the inside of the earth, maybe even more to a heightened degree than what we have on the surface. But they're highly developed and spiritually, they supersede us cognitively. So that's why they don't want us on the inner earth because we would start too much ish.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. That's another reason why they were tearing up that island. Remember, 5 years ago, the military was so-called practicing shooting missiles. What was that? Vieques in Puerto Rico, that island.
Oh wow, yeah.
Right.
Outside of that.
Yeah, because remember, Puerto Rico is one of the main places that they talk about as far as a tourist attraction, where they have a castle from a giant. The chair is like 15 feet tall or something crazy. All the furniture is, supersized.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool. I'm going to go see that. Yeah, well, Puerto Rico has, massive amount of UFO sightings daily, and it makes sense. And I heard my intel from my homegirl who just came from Puerto Rico is that they have a top of the mountain. I think it's in Piñano. I forgot the name, Piñano. And on top of the mountain, the military has it totally military are guarding it on top of a mountain. Why are they doing that? I asked if she could get a little closer. She said they wouldn't even let them go up the road to get there. So there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a brother I know that drives trucks. I forgot where he said he went, but he said he was so high up in the mountains that the sky and all the vegetation on the mountain was purple, going back to that color again.
Oh, wow.
And he said that it was a lot of lightning, but the lightning wasn't coming down towards the earth. It was going up into the sky.
Right.
Ooh.
Right. Lightning do come from the earth. So that is factual. We also gonna bring on some more callers here. We got area code 336.
Yes, thanks, brother. You can put me in mute so I don't cut up.
On the line.
Put me in mute, brother Ali. Blessings.
Thank you, Pete.
Thank you, bro. Peace.
Peace.
Right, area code 336. You're on the line.
Peace, family. Peace.
Peace.
How's everyone? Everybody moving good?
Yeah, guys.
What's going on? What's going on, Blackwater?
What's up, bro? Nothing. I got the last end of the call, so I'm not sure about everything you're speaking on tonight, but I did. And peace to the brother who was speaking on the Giants. I had a dream last night. I just wanted to bring to the table, right? It sort of correlates to what everybody was speaking on. Like I said, I'm not sure I can tell in some of the information I was talking about, but check the dream out. Dreams answered, right? So.
Well, right now we're talking on the strange. We're talking from current events to the strange, so you can fit right in where you want to.
Okay, what Dr. Strange to me? So you already know. All right, so.
Right. And speaking of strange, we'll be going into that movie soon too.
Yeah, that got some metaphysical activity through it.
I
through
saw
the whole
movie. It's good, yeah. Really
yeah,
good.
I'm trying to watch. I fell asleep watching it 2 nights ago. It's very. It got a lot of information.
It's everything, When she knocked him out of his astral body, I was like, this movie is like they throwing gems in there, honey. And it was a female. Remember, it's a female.
Where she hit him at? in the heart.
Right in the, what was it, in the solar plexus, right?
Yeah, the solar plexus in the heart. Yeah, the third,
boom, knocked him out.
Yeah.
He was like, whoa. He was like, what the hell did you do to me?
That was key.
Well, that's the area in order to produce astral travel is the solar plex area. So that was right on point.
On the
that movie needs to be, like, notes need to be taken. I say when you go see that movie, you got to take notes. It's deep. That movie is on point. Whoever let that movie out knew exactly who it would stimulate, because not everybody's gonna get it, but we're gonna get it. You'll get it. Yeah.
And who's the first entity that he was introduced to in the fifth? When he went to the area of, I think it was India, maybe.
Yeah, he was in India. No, he was in Nepal. Was it Nepal?
Yeah, Kathmandu. He was in the mountains. He was a
Kathmandu.
He took that hood off of a brother up under there.
Yeah, there was brothers. See, that's always telling you. They tell you who we are. That's right.
But okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna tell you about the dream though, because it was like it was similar to what happened in the dream is, you wake up in the sleep state or whatever in the subconscious. So I wake up and I'm like, okay, where am I at? I'm in a school, a big school. You know what I'm saying? And I'm walking with whoever it is that is transmitting this information. Walking through the hallway, a building. That's why it took me a minute I had to total recall all of it, get the calculations together in my mind. So a school or building represents expansion. If I'm not mistaken, like a big school too, it represents expansion. So that planetary energy is like Jupiter, right? Jupiter, and that relates to also Sebek or Tahuti, but that's the messenger or whatnot. So Mercury is the messenger deity, but that's information coming forth to the earth. So then, walking through the hall, we go to a locker, and I put something in a locker. So the locker is put information into the locker, whatever, the physical body or something like that, holding information. Then we take off that walking again, though. And somebody or something is, like, trying to get at me, like, fight. But somebody coming, they told me this. Someone walked up to me and tapped me on my shoulder and was like, I heard you got stole off on. And I'm like, what? No, nobody stole off on me. Nobody hit me. And then it was in the dream, it was a Caucasian person that they said it stole off on, but I never seen any Caucasians or Europeans, Albions in that general sense in the dream. So, but when they had mentioned it, that's what I saw in my mind, or in the subconscious state. I saw an individual trying to steal off on me as an Albion. So we continued to walk down the hall, and then all of a sudden, somebody tapped me on my shoulder again, and I looked, and it was like a 9-foot tall person. It was an entity that was like 9 feet tall. He was like, he wanted to fight, but he didn't want to fight. So my statement was, you guys are young. Why are we so young-minded and we always want to go into a situation fighting? That's the as far as my mentality, that's what I could conceive out of what I was thinking. I know I wasn't verbally saying anything, but that's what I was thinking. And then the door opened, and he walked out of the building. But when he walked out, he went from 8 feet, 9 feet or whatever, and he kept growing. He kept growing, and he grew to like 15, 20 feet tall. And I looked up at him, and he started smiling and laughing, and he just looked down at me and put his hand on my shoulder, and he just tapped me on my shoulder, and he was like, "You're right." And then guess what color he had on? Purple.
Purple's a royal color. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so everything the brother was just talking about was like, it's sort of like relating to a dream that was something I was dreaming about last night, not really me.
Can I ask you a question, though? Why do you think it's a dream?
It wasn't a dream. That's why I said not like a dream, like to talk about that it was me in the dream, but me going through the astral and then hearing it tonight, first to the self, then the source. So I'm like, so we are connecting properly throughout this whole spectrum of reality. He spoke the word that was presented to me in a vision last night by those.
And see, I would say that was your spiritual body expanding, Brother Elohi.
Exactly.
Purple symbolizes, the violet, which is the crown chakra, and the expansion of one's consciousness, was just simply in the form of the giant, in which that kept growing. And you coming out, out of the, coming out from what you was in, symbolized coming out the box so that you can continue growing. So, your consciousness said, look, let me show you what I am, and, and what you are and can be. Hence the reason why your consciousness touched you upon your shoulder and said you're right. Is because, what you are doing is the correct things in order to expand your consciousness. So continue doing so.
Give thanks. Yes, I see that. I appreciate that, too. So, like in the dreams, when we do interact with other individuated, those beings are in actuality an alternate part of ourselves. It's us looking at the person going through that transmission or getting that information, but is in actuality another part of ourselves that's not being fully expressed. But then, like you're saying, tapping me on the shoulder, whether or not that's my, like the higher spirit or the higher intelligence saying, you're right. Keep it moving. Keep doing what we're doing, and expand.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can dig it. Yeah, it was just when he said that, I forgot about the dream. So I sat there and I was like, okay, let me recall what was in the dream. Because I remember a tall, because he at first was 8-9 feet tall, like almost normal, but I was looking up at him like, your head's about to hit the ceiling in the school. So he walked outside, and then when you just said lightning comes forth from the earth, and then it resonates and goes up to the sky, that's when I was like, hold up. He got bigger when we went outside, and the sunlight started hitting him.
Yeah, and remember, you was coming from out of a school. School symbolizes collection of knowledge, in which that can be transformed into wisdom, consciousness, so, all of that correlates.
So that wisdom.
And also, the Hebrew word for school is shol, which is grave. So you coming out the grave, coming out the school, could be symbolic to a resurrection, of consciousness once again.
That's peace. Thank you. I just wanted to, relay that right there. Let the brother and all y'all know. Yeah, that's what I saw in that dream, and then to express it from him expressing it in that manner, he was saying something like, you might wake up and you got 10, 15 feet tall Watusi coming through, the initiating niggas. So, but that's was peace. Now that's where it resonated again. But good thanks. I appreciate that breakdown too, because it makes a lot more sense. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm glad I was able to help out.
Y'all keep building. Well, we can keep going. I'm at my mom's house, though. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to keep them up, but they peace.
Okay. Well, we'll see you Friday then.
Bright and early. Bright. All right. Peace, guys. Peace, guys.
All right. If y'all don't know who that is, that's Brother Blackwater. He comes to you every Tuesday here on First Water Radio, and he have his show in which that he do. And if y'all haven't heard him, y'all better come for tips and tricks on Tuesdays, which is his name of his show. And he will give you some of the most beneficial, spiritual, esoteric, occult information possible. And it's practical, too. So come on out and check out Brother Elohi Blackwater every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Sometimes he come on at 7, depends. So you got to check his station and see when he do his thing. But Brother L, in closing, you got any statements before we go?
Class.
Okay, there we go. We can hear you now.
Okay, I said I enjoyed it. Everything tonight.
Right.
Enjoyed the sister sharing that knowledge with us.
Yeah. Always enjoy the guy that's coming on.
Yes, he put shine a lot of light on me on dealing with the election year also. So. Yeah.
Right. Well, if people understood the popularity vote is allegedly the people's votes, but then the people vote will have to go before electoral college vote,
right,
in which that has to be represented, and then they cast their vote for whomever they want to cast their vote for. So essentially, the people vote doesn't really count.
No.
In order to even become part of the electoral vote, you have to take a 3-month class. All right?
Wow.
So, us doing it the way that we've been doing it, as so-called, i.e., black people, is not going to work. As the guy that said earlier, that's a sign of insanity to keep doing the same damn thing over and over again. We're the only people here that has to have voting privileges every 25 years. Otherwise, you would not be able to vote. We know the first to pass it was Lyndon Baines Johnson in 1965 with the Voting Act, and as an act or as a bill. Voting bill, voting act, whichever one is an act or a bill. Keep those two terms in mind, because a bill is something you got to pay for, all right? And an act is something in which that you're getting paid for. So whichever you want to take that, And then, of course, 25 years later, we have, quote-unquote, Ronald Reagan. Around 1983, 84, he signs the Voting Act. And then 25 years later, we have George Bush Jr., in 2007, 2006, 2007 to sign the voting right. So every 25 years, you have to have a president to sign to give you the privilege in order to vote. If you was a citizen, you wouldn't need a president to give you a privilege. It would be a right. A right is different than a privilege, y'all. So we want to make sure that y'all understand that, because we have to start doing things differently. All right, Goddess, we got to give you the floor now so you can get yours in. Please hit on with it.
I'm grateful that you have had me on. Thank you for having me on your platform once again. It's always a pleasure. You have such wonderful listeners who are just so spry and so aware and awake. It's such a pleasant thing for me to have interaction with you and your queen as well. I just want to, I want to let everyone know. I think it's a time for you to really take your power back and to accept that you are your own master of your own life. And so long as you sit in the driver's seat, all that you decide to do will always be in the direction that you are pushing yourself or propelling yourself towards. And that being said, keep rising, keep elevating your consciousness by, making sure your nutrition is only of the best. Remember, your food is fuel. And interacting with those like-minded or above that will help to stimulate you and also to release codons that help to allow for memories, your ancestral memories, to be released so that you can better navigate in the matrix. And that being said, I just, I send well wishes to everyone and healing energies to the melanated family and all the family, but mostly to the melanated, family that has been segregated and really has dealt with a lot of hardship over the last couple hundred years. And that being said, if anyone, you know who I am, Fleurbrun. I'm on YouTube, and you can always, if you want to engage in any of my ET conversation, my thing is talking about melanated ETs. I wanted to bring that to the forefront of being part of the UFO community. I felt like we were being whitewashed and a lot of our information about our ancestors, our galactic ancestors,
right.
which
black,
the main
well,
ancestors
whitewash and black bowls and black out.
Black bowls. Yes, they were making it very difficult for Fleurbrun to come out, and now I've definitely made a way so that this conversation that we can have can be had with much more respect and with much more integrity, and our information is flowing. So, check me out, Fleurbrun. And also, I do Aquarius Rising, 9th Gate on Thursdays at 9. You can check us out. I'll talk to mostly melanated contactees who call on the show, and we talk about our experiences and contact and metaphysical things, about, succubus, incubus. We get it in. And you can always come on my face. I think my Facebook is full. I'm not sure, but if I'm, Anunnaki Return is my page, and Fleurbrun 999 is on Twitter. So, you can always interact with me, but, keep rising, keep doing your thing. I'm always going to be in it to win it with my family, galactic and earthling. So, that being said, I support the journey, and I support also enjoying the journey too. We're not just here to, to learn. We're here to enjoy while we're learning. So, I am a fan of getting everything in, but also enjoying the sights while we're moving along.
Absolutely.
Indeed. So please make sure you check out the goddess on her Thursday night show. That is tomorrow. And what you going to be speaking on tomorrow, goddess?
We're going to go in on time, the Mandela effect, and how I think they might have switched. They hijacked our timeline again with this election.
Mm-hmm.
I have a.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Y'all know y'all got to hear that tomorrow now.
Yeah.
All right.
We're going to go in on that. Yeah.
Indeed.
I know.
All right. In closing, we got to thank the goddess once again, Sister Fleurbrun, for coming forth and giving us excellent information, well put together information in which that hopefully y'all can take back to your communities and disseminate amongst the people, because we need it. As well as also Brother Elohi, Blackwater, coming on, which I'm going to play his song, which is called Trapped of Freedom, as well as also my co-host, Brother Fahim L., coming on and doing his thing as usual, being that fantastic co-host and getting them questions in. And once again, we thank y'all for listening to First World Radio. We are out. Peace.
Yeah. ATD. Above the dome. Trap of freedom. It's family. Tradition. Heritage. The missing links. Spiritual miracles. The awakenings. The walking sphinx. It's time to eat. Food for thought. The meta magician. Holy rainwater flows off my altar, channel through the seasons, elevate the reasons. What's the purpose of life to the living, death to the conscious? At the end of days, clash of the titans, zombies running rampant, Christ in the pamper, looking for a lamp, revving at the church, plugging in the amp, rock of the ages, son of the undead, vamping, immortal rage. I bleed red ink on the page, words and truth, no signature, to the blur. From invisible literature, sitting at the dock of the bay with Otis, having rituals, turn the lights off, it can get real quick, sir. Melting pot mix, I'm in search for a fix. Walking backwards, looking forward, patiently waiting. Don't ignore it, holding two swords like peace signs aimed at your board. To light, walk into flight, hawk eyesight, interdimensional terabytes, fuel for the journey, some late a fuel for the gurney, colored in the book of law, no need for attorneys, I turn the page, feel the script like a doctor coming out the cage, I'm the lion, fed grain, sticks and stones, no pain. A workers only workers gain, attempting to keep my inner sane. With lifestyle changes, highs and mountain plains. 7 thoughts, 7 vaults, no faults, who's to blame? It ain't the same, they take your names, I feel the sun. It ain't no fun if the homie can't have none. I see you run like Hussein, like none. It seems frightening, exciting, I go with streaming lightning. I'm the Nickelodeon at night. You want to be caught in the trap of freedom. Do you want to be lost in the trap of freedom? Do you want to be caught in the trap of freedom? Do you want to be lost in the trap of freedom? Yeah, time, space is obsolete. Locate the unlocal, way above, yet so below. The permanency of non-movement, ATV, above the dome, trap of freedom, Blackwater, the metal magician, mad scientist on the track. Peace.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike, you know.
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your moves.
Danny, I just figured out that if I switch to Metro PCS, I get 2 Samsung Galaxy phones free.
Cool, Dad.
And I could be a super dad with 2 free Samsung Galaxy phones and call myself Double Galaxy Man.
Or you could give the second phone to your sidekick.
Yeah, I guess I could do that.
That's right. 2 free Samsung Galaxy On 5 smartphones are all yours when you switch to Metro PCS. Metro PCS. Wireless figured out. Coverage not available in some areas. Sales tax not included in phone price. Excludes numbers on the T-Mobile network. See store for details and terms and conditions.